Let's hit the high road. Let's hit the high road. It's the first touch, strong connection. It lays deep in your soul. Feel the kindness strongly coming, 'cause you can achieve your goal. Let's hit the high road. Let's hit the high road.
Hi, this is Nancy Earald, and welcome to High Road to Humanity and Nancy's Psychic View on the High Road. And today I have James Parker here. And James, welcome to High Road to Humanity.
Well, thank you for having me. So glad to be here.
I'm
Yes,
excited you're here. Now you're in Chicago, is that right?
I'm in Chicago. Yes.
Okay, how's the weather? It's gonna
Oh,
snow here.
it's mild actually for February. I'm surprised.
Okay, all right. Well, you guys, we're going to be talking about, just so you have a feel, the wealth spark. And I told James before the show, boy, this was needed for myself personally. And I'm going to tell you guys, this is really a good book. He gets it. And we're going to hear his story, and we're going to talk about affirmations and how do we get out of that mindset, that poverty mindset, and how do we get into the wealth mindset? Because that's really what this is, I believe, down to the core. What do you think? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. In fact, we tend to be so stuck in a poverty or scarcity mindset, and really we're unconscious of it most times. And if we could just get out of that,
Yes,
using
exactly.
affirmations and visualizations and gratitude and those things.
Yeah. And, James
Yeah.
Parker is a
So
senior minister, you guys. He's the CEO of the Unity Chicago, Illinois Church. And he has an extensive entrepreneurial and leadership background across multiple industries. So that includes telecommunications, construction. He's done real estate, business consulting and development, as well as restaurant and hospitality. Now, he is a respected leader. And he's an inspirational change maker. I like that. And Reverend James Parker elegantly interweaves profound spiritual insights into this book. And this is what we're going to talk about today. So make sure you share this show with people. Before we get into it with James, I just want to say I will be at the Conscious Life Expo in LA. Hopefully it'll stop raining out there. I'm not flying out till Thursday, but it's this weekend, and it's the 22nd Conscious Life Expo. It's at the LAX Hilton. So I'll be teaching angel communication and spiritual law. And I'll be teaching people how to ground and how to connect with the divine source. So it's going to be a good one. Come and see me. I'll be there Saturday night, okay, Saturday evening. And that's the 10th of February. Then, just so you guys know, I am going to be in Florida, and that's March 16th and 17th. I'm very excited. I'm going to be at Boca Deerfield. I'm going to be speaking about the angelic realm and, of course, about the divine source and how to connect. So, come and see me, you guys. It would be really great if everybody came to visit, and everybody's going to get their wings. So, hey, there you have it. James, I want to get into this book, and I want you to tell me your story. You say the real measure of your wealth is how much you've been worth if you lost all of your money.
yes. And that's a very dynamic statement because most of us measure ourselves by
Yeah.
our finances, by the misconception that if we have financial success that we'll have also great emotional and physical well-being, and that's just not true. And so I really want people to know that their worth is something way beyond just finances or money.
Yes. Wow. And I have to tell you, it took me many years to get to that point, where you value yourself and you realize that it's not the stuff, it's the soul, it's the person.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's truly a lifting of your consciousness, of coming into an awareness of your truth, that the Spirit of God lives within you, and
Hmm.
that you have the potential and the power to bring forth and attract anything you desire if you have the right mindset, and you get rid of those old bad habits that are no longer serving you.
Right. And that's what you talk about in the book. You can either have a wealthy mindset or you can have the scarcity mindset. And you go through, that we have these limiting beliefs. And I'm just going to talk about this because I think I'm not the only one that's had this. My parents were in the Depression. They're both gone now, but my parents went through the Depression. And I'm bringing this up because I think a lot of people maybe had parents who saved, and really said, they had all these sayings like a penny saved is a penny earned, and
Yeah.
all these taught how do we get out of that? I guess that's the big question.
That is such a great point, and I talk about that often because many times we don't know that we are carrying some of the stuff that our parents held, and they're carrying stuff that their parents held, and we're using that in our everyday lives. It becomes a part of our DNA, a part of our very mindset. Not only do you find that people who went through the depression are big time savers, but they're also big time hoarders and
Hmm.
clutterers, and they kind of get stuck in this way of doing things, and it's kind of a lack consciousness because going through something like that, you tell yourself, I am never going through this again. So the concept really evolves around coming into a new way of being, and that's really through seeing your highest self, and recognizing that the words that you use have power. So getting rid of the negative self-talk and the lack beliefs, and all those other things that kind of hold us back or keep us shackled to a way
Yeah.
of being that no longer serves us.
Yeah, and I can only speak for myself, but when we went through the COVID and we couldn't get toilet paper,
Sure.
okay, so I'm going to bring this up because I know other people are doing this. So now and I thought about this the other day before I read your book, but so now I'm like ordering my cases of toilet paper from Sam's Club,
Yes.
right? And so I'm always good. And I thought and I'm ordering my dish soap from Sam's Club because so
Hmm.
I'll be good. And I
Hmm.
order my Tide, so I have plenty. And
Yes.
I started to think to myself, this is nuts.
Yeah.
I need to just buy what I need and stop freaking out because God takes care of us.
Absolutely. The universe provides everything we need. In the Bible, it says it's the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. And so many of us, we kind of, buy and hoard, and we pick up things. And it's not out of some sense of malice or anything. We're really just trying to be, the inner Boy Scout, the being prepared. But
Yeah.
a lot of times it turns into things being in every corner of your room. Like, why do I have this, and why am I holding on to that? Why do I have 100 pair of shoes?
Yes.
It's just the way people kind of spin their way into
Right.
a challenging situation.
Right. Well, I want to talk about, you do talk about affirmations and visualizations, and I am huge on affirmations and visualizations, and I want to hear your take on it. I just know that when I don't do them, I don't have have a great day. I have a better day when I do my affirmations, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it? And it's evident at this point in
Yes.
my life. So talk about how you did this. How did you figure all this out?
Well, how did I figure it out? That's so I learned a long time ago that there are times when I find myself saying things to myself, because we speak more to ourselves than we do anyone else. Saying things to myself that are really holding me back. I was putting things in front of my I am, like I am so sorry. I am so sorry about that. I am not capable. I can't do this. And so the negative self talk, really kind of gets embedded in our subconscious mind, and
Mm.
so we have to begin to replace those thoughts and those sayings, those things that we just bring up. And so affirmations became a power for me, to rid myself of the negative self-talk and replace it with something positive, something that could, have attracting energy that would bring forth my desires as opposed to taking away my good.
Yeah. Well, and you give different ones in the book, and I like that. And I started doing them when I got into real estate. I was a single mom and I needed to draw business to myself. And I
Yeah.
had a mentor and she'd say, draw it in. And I'd say, what do you mean? And she'd say, draw it in. And so I started seeing affirmations going to work. Like I sell houses like crazy and stuff like that. But I never thought, bless you, James, because I never thought to do it like, you know, to change my self-talk a little bit, to change things up. And I like that. So like what's one that you say? Do you mind if I ask that?
Oh, I have a bunch, but I
Okay, give
always
me a couple. Tell the
uh,
audience.
I am worthy of all my good. I am a child of God. I am a creator of masterful things. I am an innovator. I bring forth only light and love. So
I love
I
it.
have a bunch. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And then you also mentioned, I picked some stuff out of your book because I couldn't read the whole thing, but it is really good, you guys. I really suggest this. I'm going to take it with me on my trip and finish it because it's something that we all need, and you say surround yourself with positive influence, and that's a big deal.
Yes. You know, in the 12 step movement, there is a saying, people, places, and things. And many times in our habits, our attachments, even our addictions, we tend to go back and circle back to the same old things that keep us trapped in our way of thinking. And,
Right.
so I talk to people uh, all the time about, changing your environment, changing, the people that you work with. If you really want to own a business, you know, find business people that can relate to what you're experiencing. If you want to get healthy, start finding people who are in healthy situations.
Right.
And that way we bring forth, not only do we evolve around positive influences, but we also begin to attract positive influences into our lives.
Well, yeah, and I've realized that as I've raised my vibration, I'm attracted to different people, and different people are attracted to me, and it's cool. And there's nothing, and it means you're evolving and you're moving forward.
Sure.
I
Mhm.
like that you put 5 strategies for cultivating a wealthy mindset. And do you mind if I read these?
Sure, please.
Okay. So the first one is focus on abundance and be eager to learn to grow, take calculated risk, foster a positive outlook, and express gratitude.
Yes.
I like
Yes.
all of those. Do you want to address some of these or do you want to
I
talk about?
absolutely can. So I really
Yeah.
feel like we kind of get ourselves off our center when we're not being positive in our outlook. Things happen in life, and we do have challenges or problems do show up. But I like to call them projects. If I
Mm,
call them problems, I'm giving that power. So I call them projects so that I open the way for a solution. So I'm always looking for ways to come forth in a very positive way. I don't let things get me down. So I want to express to people that you have to have an optimistic approach to life. Really see that life is always giving to us, and it's something to be so grateful for. Also, we really have to stay in a mindset of learning and growing, whether that's through books or seminars or webinars. The thing you're doing in LA next week is going
yeah.
to be a beautiful thing. People should watch your show because you can learn things from this. And so I want people to stay in a mindset of learning and growing. And so it just kind of works that way. Gratitude is an energy. And so when we allow ourselves to be grateful for what we have, we attract more good to ourselves. So
Right.
talking about those things in the book really allows for, gives tools and strategies for people to use to grow the inner muscle, the intuitive self, the angel inside.
Yes. Well, and it's funny because I'm going to talk about gratitude because I teach about spiritual law, and that's one of the spiritual laws that I
Mhm.
teach. And I learned that over time. And, right now, I just want to say this in the world, there are so many homeless people. There are people who don't have a warm bed. There are people who don't have food to eat. There are people who don't have a roof over their head. And so when you have a home and you're warm and you have food and your health, then you need to be grateful for those things. And it's really gotten down to that. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And it's such a, but I want to be sure to state that even the person that's homeless has something to be grateful for.
Okay.
I don't want that person also to feel like,
Okay.
life has avoided them. You know, they're still in the game if you're breathing. And I really feel that the challenge for many of us, and as you said, we have a home and we have a life and we have these things, and we still take them for granted,
I
even
know.
in our situations. And then you see someone. I love to talk to people about service work because especially if someone comes to me, they're going through a divorce or they're having a challenge or they lost their job. I tell them to serve because if you go and serve and you work with some of these people, you'll
Mhm.
begin to have a different appreciation for the life you have, and you'll begin to work through your many challenges. I want to say that uh, this life and this time, especially after COVID, it's been a struggle for a lot of people, and
Mhm.
I've noticed a light sense of depression in our world. And
Mhm.
so there really needs to be a paradigm shift of sorts, where people come into an agreement of oneness, of knowing that there's a potential inside of them and that they can have anything they desire.
Right. We've all got that little spark of God inside
Yeah,
of us.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And, we're on the same page. I have to say, and I just want to say this, and I want to know your thoughts on this. This is how I've decided to understand because I've learned not to judge people.
Hmm.
So I feel like we're down here to learn. And if somebody's homeless, maybe they chose that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you know what I
And
mean? And so are you kind of thinking that too on some of this stuff that maybe that's what they wanted to experience because we all came down here to experience. I don't know if you're in the Unity Church, so I figure you're a little more open-minded.
well, I look at it a couple of ways.
Okay.
I absolutely see that that there's no such thing as coincidence, and that
Right.
things happen for a reason. There's a reason that is happening, and it's always, if you can have an optimistic approach, it's always to bring forth your highest good. But also, there's those times when we are called to change or to transition, and we're resistant, and
Right.
the cosmic 2x4 will get us.
You betcha. You're absolutely right. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one. I did something. I love this book. I thought it was really good, you guys. I think you guys need to pick this up because you talk about J.R. Rowling's story. And
Uh-huh.
I did not know this. Will you tell the audience the story? Because I didn't know this about her.
Well, she was a single mom and just kind of working through, trying to figure out things, and she had to hit bottom in order to find her way. And she had a typewriter and she loved to write, but she was not putting it into action. And so she started writing, and this amazing thing came from it. But she, as most authors, she wasn't able to find a publisher, and things weren't working out. And
Right.
she started visualizing herself with millions of people, reading her book, and then this practice of visualization began to attract, something new into her life. And Harry Potter, I mean, is
Yeah. Well, and
the
she
rest is
wrote a
history.
letter. She
She
wrote
wrote
this
a letter.
letter.
Yes,
That's the part I didn't know. So
yes,
I did this, you guys. I really did this today. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And
yes,
so that's what, and you know why I think it stuck? Because of the ink, because
yes,
she physically used her energy to write that letter.
yes,
You know
yes,
what I'm saying? And so this morning I wrote a letter to myself. I think everybody should do this. I'm going to tell everybody out there to do this and write a letter of what you see yourself or what your dream, your dream.
yes. Write your
It's just
dream
your dream, you
and write
know?
it in detail.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know how much detail I got into, but
It's the same story with Jim Carrey. He wrote himself a check for $10 million when
that's
he was
right.
a struggling actor, and it's yeah, you're right. There's something about writing things down, and so I also talk about journaling a lot because it's
Yeah.
so important for us. Many of us cannot function in a way where we're able to speak it or we're able to express it, but we can certainly, some of us can write it down, and it's the same. Write it down. Put it on paper. It becomes real to you the moment you put ink to paper.
Yeah, journaling has really saved me in the past few years. I think it's like we get into our head a lot. And for me personally, I write to God and to Goddess every day. I used to just write to God. Now I write to God and Goddess. And I
Yeah.
tell them everything and I just get it off my chest, basically,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I just tell them what I'm grateful for, all of that. You have 9 habits of success for people in this book. Or
Mhm.
9 habits of successful people. Let me take that back. And do you mind? Do you want to go through a few of these? Because I
Let's
think
go
they
through
were
a couple. Let's go
they
through
were
a couple.
pretty good. I really like these. So first thing is goal setting that you put in here. Successful people set clear and specific goals.
Yes. And it's so important that we start out with a goal. Honestly, everything we do is a goal. We're just not looking at it that way. When we get up to go to the refrigerator, we've set a goal to go to the refrigerator. When we go to put on our shoes, we've set a goal to put on our shoes. These are things we take for granted. But the kind that I am talking about is I want people to begin to take that idea, that divine idea that's within them, and begin to create a goal around it. Map it out, put it on paper, put the big picture down, and then break it into small pieces and
Mm.
do the ones that you can do. And if you begin to slowly, do those things, you in a matter of no time, you will have reached that goal. So setting goals is such an important thing.
Yeah, and I just want to say it's not in your time, it's in God's time. Because
It's always in God.
because I've had some goals and it's like, okay, I'm ready. All right, let's do it. And then you look back and think, okay, I wasn't ready.
What's the saying? We plan, God laughs. That
Yeah, there you I like that. I like that. You also talk about time management. You say time is a valuable resource and successful people know how to manage it effectively and
yes.
and prioritize, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, it's important for us to along with our goals to set time frames around them, and what I'm really getting at is I don't want people to waste time, to throw
Mm.
away their time, to looking at notifications or every social media piece or what's happening uh, down at the corner store. I want people to use their time effectively. So I talk about doing small goals, smart goals, ones that are specific, ones that are measured, ones that are relevant, ones that are time bound. Put a time frame around that goal and you'll begin to work toward achieving it. And then, take out swatches of time, give yourself breaks because that's great self care, but
Right.
use your time effectively.
Yeah, that's one thing I've learned, to balance fun and work. Because a
Yes.
lot of times I get to be a workaholic. And
Mhm.
so, then there's a balance. There really is a balance there. Um,
Absolutely.
you talk about lifelong learning. Successful people embrace lifelong learning. Um, what do you mean here? They recognize that education is essential for growth. So educate yourself. Is that what you're?
Educate yourself. Yes. Continue to read. Find things that interest you and take a deep dive into them. If
Mhm.
it's something that interests you, then it gives you more of a feeling of doing it. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that lifelong learning is so important. What I teach here at Unity is that we are students of truth, students of lifelong learning, and so um, and there's not a moment that we're not learning anyway, to be honest with you. Our subconscious is taking in everything we see, hear, feel.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we might as well be, directing with it, kind of direct, that situation, making what we learn something that causes us to begin to personally grow.
Yeah, that's it. It's growth. I agree with you. It's all about the growth. You do talk about a positive mindset. And it's hard, to always stay upbeat. I'm a real upbeat person and I'm doing my best. I don't know. I think people probably have this, you're in a great mood and then you go somewhere and you encounter a negative individual. And
Yes.
it's really hard not to take it personal and to get back into that mindset again. It's a tough one. It's a tough,
It,
especially in the world right now. You want to talk about that?
It,
Because
it, it is tough. And the beauty of creating a positive mindset is that you don't allow things on the outside world to affect you the way you may have if you weren't practicing, positivity and coming into a healthy mindset. But also, the reaction that you get from people when they see that you're calm.
I know.
So, oh my God, when you're calm and relaxed and when, poised and, they can't seem to push your buttons anymore,
Oh my
there's
gosh.
there's something amazing about that. So, coming into a positive mindset just allows you to be at peace.
You're
And
talking about my experience on Saturday. I went to get my nails done. I never get my nails done, but I have this event, so I'm like, I'm gonna get my nails done. And I made an appointment, of course, and I walk in and I tell them I'm there, but they don't care. And I sat there for a half an hour
wow.
before they acknowledged me and put me in the chair. And let me just say, it was a really bad experience. But it took me a bit to get that experience. It's like even though you're positive and centered, and I am, boy, it's even that energy, that negative energy. It took me a while to get that off and to get that experience out of my head. Like, okay, you just don't go back there, let it go, because your mind's like, oh my God, oh my God, but you don't do that. You're like, okay, okay, okay. But it does take, even when you're centered, it takes a while.
Well, and people have a misconception of positivity. Honestly, when you have a positive mindset, it means your inner light is really shining.
Yeah.
The challenge with that is that your inner light is going to attract darkness. It
Bingo.
is. It's going to attract darkness. And if you come into an awareness of a positive mindset, then you're that much further ahead of the game. You already know it. You're aware. You're
Right,
awake. So when
right.
the darkness shows up, you're able to, remove it, push it away, and move it back. But if you're not aware, of your light, many times you'll just let that dark energy just keep coming to you and keep coming to you. Over time, if the dark energy can't find a place in you, it'll go somewhere else.
That's right. That's right. Well, and what I've done, and I have to say I've changed because years ago I would have like went on about this forever, And
Yeah,
now I'm
me
like,
too.
okay,
Yeah,
bad experience. But I just put the light out. I put the energy out every
yeah,
day. I
yeah.
put love and light out there. Even when I get in the car, I'm
Mhm,
like, okay, this is gonna go smooth. And I tell the universe, this is how I want it to go. But
mhm.
persistence, we were just talking about that kind of a thing.
Oh
You
yeah.
gotta keep going. It's hard, isn't it? People want to give up.
It is very tough to keep on going, especially when you're meeting obstacles and roadblocks and different things along the way. But
Yeah.
those things are kind of the test.
Yes.
Do you really want it? Do you really want it? Then persist. Keep going. Once you get over that hump, then everything kind of opens up for you, and life becomes a really good experience.
Yeah, and I've learned that, and I think hopefully the audience has with, and I'm sure you have with time, that the more things we experience, it changes us and we start to be less reactive and, that kind of a thing. Also self-care, you bring it up here in the book, and I want to talk about that because I feel like it says successful people place a priority on their physical emotions, mental well-being. They put themselves first.
They put themselves first. Absolutely. You absolutely should. You should pay yourself first, first, take care of your physical nature first, take care of your emotional, health first. You should take care of your your relationships first.
But we don't do this, James. We don't do
we do.
this.
Well, we've been programmed not to by by these social norms that are out here.
Right?
But boy,
Right?
if we get back to taking care of, the spirit, if the spirit of God or the angels live within us, then what better to take care of? If we take care of ourselves, then we're actually absolutely giving honor and praise and goodness, to the spirit, and that can only attract, universal energy and light to us.
Right. Well, and that's why I'm so big on connecting with the divine and bringing in the light. I don't know if you guys do that at the Unity Church, but I bring in the light every day. And we have this guardian angel. Mine stands right here. I know she's here. And when you start working with them, I'll just throw this out here because you brought it up,
Yeah.
then everything, like, someone has your back. And you feel more comfortable. Like there's somebody that came with you when you were born, and there's somebody that's going to be there when you transition. And
Mhm.
we all have one. And why have we not been taught to connect with this loving entity that loves us unconditionally?
Yeah. Well, and that's the $1 million question.
Isn't it?
It just seems like worldly conditions and society, would prefer us not to, you
Right.
know, follow that guide or to listen to our inner angel. But it will certainly tell us to work out and buy supplements and do all these other things for the physical us, but it won't tell us to do the good work, for the inner us.
For the interest. I have to say something, and it's just because I found my daughter sent it to me yesterday, and it's like keeps coming into my head. So
Sure.
I'm supposed to say this. So it was on TikTok, actually. My daughter sent me this thing, and Disney has bought the rights to the Bible.
What?
Yeah,
Now
and
that's a good one.
I want to bring this out. I want to bring this up. Everybody can look it up for themselves. She was so upset. She just emailed me and texted me, and I'm like, "What?" And she said, "Mom, they have bought they're going to do a Bible series, so they bought the rights to the NIV version, and I can't remember what the other if I don't know if it's a King James version, but they bought the rights. And
Okay.
I'm telling you this because you're a minister. They took out Matthew.
Wow.
And Matthew is where it says, pray and fast to overcome demons.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
So I'm just going to bring it to everyone's attention today. Everyone can look it up for themselves. But I was so upset. Like I was getting my teeth cleaned yesterday, and I'm telling my dental hygienist, you know that Disney bought the Bible. But
Well, I
it's
can
getting
see it.
it's getting scary. It's getting scary,
It is. It
But
is. Everything is being moved into kind of this corporate,
yeah,
environment in nature. Everything is supposed to follow a certain, organizational, way of doing things. So I can absolutely seeing it. But boy,
and
I,
only
I don't know.
telling us what they want us to know.
There it is. Yes. They're
But I
telling us
but
what they want. And they've been doing that for thousands
forever.
of years.
I know. But now we're waking up and now we
That's
know.
right. That's
But
right.
here's what I told my daughter, and I want to mention this to you and to the audience. I have my Bible from our family from the 1700s. I've got a King James version. I've got an NIV version. It would take a long time for them to really get rid of
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't even see it happening in a
in
couple
our
of lifetimes.
lifetime. Yeah.
You know, it's been tried over and over and over again over the past couple thousand years. There's no way they'd be able to remove Matthew in an American society and it not become something, an issue for people. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like the fact that the Bible has come to our soil, if you will. I don't like the fact that Disney. That's
It's
a
a scary
strange,
thing.
scary thing. Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah, it's very strange. Well, I just wanted to bring that up. You talk in your book about taking action, and because I want everyone to know that you go through all these different steps. And he says it's within the action that dreams evolve from uh, from mere imaginings into tangible outcomes.
Yeah.
So, talk about that. If the action, we have to take the action because I think we do the people say, "Oh, I do the affirmations," but nothing's happening.
Yes. Yeah, and you're right. You're right on point. The idea that there are affirmations out here and there's visualization and there's all these different steps to gratitude and these things that we can do. But many of us, we have this mindset of pray and wait on the Lord.
I
uh,
know.
in that way, and that'll be our destiny. But that's not true. And we have to put feet to our faith. We have to walk the talk. And so, an affirmation or a visualization means nothing if you don't put them into action. And so, we can have these dreams and these desires, and we can just hold them, waiting for something to happen, or we can get to work, put it to action to bring them into fruition, bring them forth.
Yeah, we have to take the action. It's a combination of the spiritual and the earth.
Absolutely.
We're down
Mhm.
here on earth. And a lot of times I get caught up in the spiritual, I will say, you
Sure.
know. But then I remember, oh yeah, I have to live here and I got to do what I have to do.
That's right. That's what
And
we say. We're spiritual beings having a human experience.
right. And it's hard sometimes. It's
It
really
is.
it's difficult. You tell such cool stories. There's a story of Sarah Bradlove
Oh
that
yeah.
Yeah, that you talk about in the book. She developed a hair care line for Black women. I want you to talk about some of these things.
Yeah, so this is Madam C.J. Walker, and back in the early 20th century, she created hair care products for African American women.
Right,
At the time, there was there was no differentiation, and it was clear that their hair wasn't getting the nurturing that it needed, and
right.
so Madam C.J. Walker created these hair care products, and then she began to bring them to market. But the way she brought them to market was by doing it incrementally. Changing her promotion style just a little bit. Changing her way of building her client base just a little bit. And over time, she was able to spread these products into the entire market, and she did it through these action steps.
Wow.
Just taking it one step at a time.
Yeah, and she came from parents who really didn't have a lot.
Oh no, no, no. She came from very at that time most people in Madam C.J. Walker's experience would have had slavery just a generation or two removed.
Wow.
So yeah.
So yeah, and it just shows, if you have an idea or if you have this burning desire, and that's what it really is. It's that burning desire to whatever your dream is. I always tell everybody, whatever that desire is what you should do, and the money will come, you
And if
know?
you allow yourself to feel yourself with it, that your angel or your inner spirit or your higher power, whatever you call it, will come forth and assist you in bringing it into the world.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You also tell, yeah, and you talk about transforming dreams into your reality. You talk about Reverend Johnny Coleman. He was
Ah.
born in the South. I love these stories. So, do you mind if I don't want to give too much away, but we'll give
No.
another story.
So I tell these anecdotes because I want people to see that common everyday people were able to put these things into practice and bring forth, something greater. So Johnny Coleman, which most people think is a man, but she's a woman.
Oh, I thought it was a guy.
No, she's a woman,
Oh
and
my God.
she grew up in the South in a very racially charged time, and she moved to the Chicago area, and she went into seminary. She went to the same seminary school that I went to, and so and I kind of went because of her example to that school, but
Wow.
she was told that she could not stay at on campus. She had to live off campus with like the cooks and the dining people, the waiters and whatnot. And so she she stayed at the school, and she brought up this big she created this big stink. Her classmates got involved. The whole school got into it, and they changed the rule. But she, after finishing, she came back to Chicago, and she opened up a small church on the South Side, and it was about positive, having a positive mindset, coming into a conscious awareness of your truth, knowing who you are, knowing that the spirit of God lives within you, that your angels are there, as intuitive
Right,
guides, taking you through. And she
right.
was able to build this community, and not only a community of people, but the entire community, just reshaping and retooling, and she made something out of nothing, and it became this very beautiful thing. And later she had thousands of people coming to her services, and it ended up spreading out into the world, where they have multiple churches all over the world.
That's amazing. I think that's amazing. Yeah, she founded the Universal Foundation for Better Living.
Yes, yes.
Yes, that's amazing. Well, this book is fantastic, but I want to hear about what you're doing. What are you doing right now? What do you got coming up? Tell us what James Parker's doing.
So James Parker is taking the WellSpark on the road. So I've been doing workshops,
Oh,
master classes, speaking engagements. I really want to take this information and spread it out into the world, to bring the world into a better place. Gandhi said, you have to be the change you want to see. So I am out just doing the work, serving and sharing, and being the best patron of the Spirit of God that I can.
that's phenomenal. I am with you. We are on the same page. So I'm just thrilled that you're here today. And what a great book. I mean, truly, it's inspired me. It inspired me to write this morning. It's inspired me to change my mindset. And in here, you guys, he tells you how to really work on yourself, and that's what we all have to do. We just have to work on ourselves. It's not easy,
No,
but
no.
we got to do it. Well, how do people get in touch with you if they want
So
to?
you can get in touch with me at thewellsparkbook.com.
Okay.
And also there you'll find, there's a lot of freebies and giveaways. I give away 50 free affirmations, book
Oh,
excerpts, and there's a community of people there. We share, we talk, and we come into, this blended mindset of spirituality and finances to kind of bring forth, this holistic view of wealth, personal growth, meaningful relationships, rich and full life of purpose and sustained success, something that ultimately you'll craft a life that is not just lived, but lived abundantly. So
yeah.
thewellsparkbook.com.
That's awesome. Yeah, because God doesn't want us to be unhappy. And
No.
prosperity is there's enough for everybody. I just want to
Yeah.
say that. There's
Yeah.
enough for everybody. It's our own mindset that keeps us in a certain
Yes.
place.
Well said. Beautiful. Yes.
Well, James, I'm so glad you came on today. All right, you guys, we have to get out of here for today, but I'm really glad everyone joined me. If you have a chance, pick up my book, Wake Up, The Universe is Speaking to You. It's at Barnes & Noble or at Amazon.com. And my new angel book will be out next year. All right, guys, I am so appreciative for everyone joining us. I hope everyone has a fabulous week and God bless.
Hold your head high, the world is coming. Watch the colors lift your soul. Connect the dots and keep the motion. Can achieve your goal. Let's hit the high road.